you probably want to talk a little bit about this Violent Night hold, which is down only 35%.
I mean, don't you find that incredible? A second weekend, and listen, this isn't a movie that opened at like 50 million, but it did open at over 13 million. So,
Mm-hmm.
and a wide release. So that type of movie should still be dropping 50+% easy, if not 60%. And it's a gimmicky movie. It's Santa Claus in an action movie. So you would think a gimmicky movie that opens to double digits in its first weekend, its second weekend, it's going to drop 50, 60%. It only dropped 35%. So obviously what this tells us is people really like this movie and people are coming out of it and telling their friends, you got to check this out.
Well,
And that's obviously this movie is going to live and die on word of mouth, and it seems to be living really well. Santa Claus is coming to town right now.
well, we're not critics, huh?
Huh.
But I will say, and I not to blow up your spot here, Pat, but you did something similar with me. You
Yep.
saw this film and you said you really liked it. You thought David Harbour's performance was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
They took the premise to the max,
Mm-hmm.
is I think a quote
Oh
from
yes, I
you.
use to the max a lot. Yeah.
And that was word of mouth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm more likely to see that movie now than I was before,
Mm-hmm.
which is still not likely, but
Mm-hmm.
there was no way in hell I was seeing this movie before you said anything about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I had gotten good word of mouth from a fellow friend of the podcast, past and future guest, Erin Rose Chan, had
Mm.
been on this podcast, and she saw this movie and opening night, because she sees things opening night. She's just a machine. And she said this was really good. And that was part of playing it to my decision to see it in its second weekend. That and the fact that it is a successful box office hit. This is the
Yeah.
type of movie that if it bombed, you would stay far away from it, because you're not going to go see the gimmicky Santa Claus action movie that also has already been rejected.
Yeah,
But the fact that it opened strong and now it's holding strong, I think this gives people the permission they needed to go see this, to ask their partner, do you want to go see this movie? And I think that's important, because if this movie was a disaster at the box office, people are not, even if they're interested in seeing it themselves, they're not going to their partner and saying, hey, do you want to go see Violent Night? That movie that's completely tanking and being rejected at the box office. That's not going to happen, but it's a hit with a great hold. So you've got that ammunition you need to go to your partner and say, why don't we go see this thing?
yeah. And even like, I don't care how strong your relationship is, if you
Mm-hmm.
drag your partner to a film that already has the stink of failure, you walk in the theater, there's three people there, one of them's in a trench coat.
Right.
That's gonna be bad.
Totally. Listen, I have been with my wife for 12 years now,
Hmm.
between dating, marriage time, you add it up, you get the final total.
I think your
We've
first
been,
movie together was Cedar Rapids, right? Is that the
yes,
first movie?
it was Cedar Rapids, and we survived that.
Hmm.
We survived that, which I
And
think
that's
shows
rough, yeah.
it was rough. That was with some rough waters, but we survived that. But as strong a relationship as anyone has, it could only survive so many bad movie experiences, so many of one person taking the other person to a movie that they hate. You only have so many of those. And as
Hmm.
strong as our relationship is, there's a number. There's a number of bad theatrical experiences that could end this, even if everything else is going great, which it is.
Hmm.
And you don't want to rack those numbers up. And Violent Night was not that. I took her to that. I was the impetus for us going. She was very skeptical about it. She had a great time. She loved it. Came out of it talking sequels. The two of us are sitting there
Wow.
at the Nighthawk Bar, Trees Lounge, great place. You got to stop by. I may be there, I may not be there. But we were talking about the movie afterwards, and we were sitting there talking about what sequels they should make. So that is huge, to have someone who is very wary of going at all, who leaves the movie talking about sequels they want to see. That shows that people are liking this movie. That shows that people who were not into the premise initially are liking this movie. And I think we got to give it to David Harbour, who we talked a little bit about it after the opening weekend. He's really turning himself into a possible B movie genre star with this. And the
Hmm.
second weekend really props him up to be someone who could hold this type of movie going forward.
We need that sort of mid-budget actionaire
Yep.
star to emerge, and David Harbour seems to have all the goods.
Yep. He's a big guy. He's imposing, but he's sympathetic because he's not Schwarzenegger, you
Hmm.
know, and he's funny. This movie requires him to do a lot of comedy. He's sympathetic. He seems like a nice dude, which is what you want, but he's got an edge to him, and he's got the built-in Stranger Things audience.
Which is huge, which is
Yeah.
huge. Now, Pat,
Yes.
I'm going to make you and wanna BO intern Christopher happy right now because I'm going to give you 1 minute undisturbed, uninterrupted to talk about the menu, which has Just Beat Ready or Not
Mm-hmm.
and what was the other one? Ari Aster's film
Midsommar.
Midsommar at the
Okay.
box office. Two very strong comps to this movie. So here you go. Here's a minute for you to talk uninterrupted about your pet movie, The Menu.
All right. Well, I mean, I start off by saying I don't appreciate it being called my pet movie because The Menu is not just my movie, it's America's movie right now. It is clear that all of America has embraced this movie. It's up to $29 million domestic for a small searchlight comedy thriller about rich people going to an island for food. And you would think, okay, that's a movie that's going to come and go. That's a movie with a premise that is going to maybe play well on the coast for a weekend and that's it. No, this movie has now made more money than Ready or Not. This movie, The Menu, has made more movie than Ari Aster's Midsommar. This movie is going to get over $30 million total easy. And that is not what anyone expected. People love this movie. This is a huge win for Anya Taylor Joy. It's a huge win for Ray Fiennes. And I think this is a box office that could catapult a small searchlight film into Oscar nom 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 territory. You know, this movie is about food. The menu is about food. It's about people who say nom 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 when they eat. But no, this movie now, because of its box office, could be about Oscar nom nom noms. I'm talking screenplay. I'm talking, yes, best actor Ray Fiennes. That is how good this box office is, how surprising this box office is that we could see Ray Fiennes get a best actor nom 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 from The Menu. And that would be this movie getting its just desserts.
Great. And let the record show I did not interrupt.